Paradise's pathway, that's our only goal. Paradise's pathway, rejuvenate the soul. Paradise's pathway, the path for you and me. Paradise's pathway, the path that makes us see. Paradise's pathway, the path to unity. Come along with me, bring humanity. Come along with me, bring humanity.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Paradise's Pathway, a program brought to you by Zuna Ahmad USA in hopes of inspiring, motivating, and supporting each other on the paths that lead to our Creator, inshallah. Our episodes are based on topics from the book Domestic Issues and Their Solutions, a compilation of guidance from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasrihil Aziz. Today we will be discussing the rights of family members. Our first panelist joining us via Zoom is Sister Samantha Issam Sahiba. Samantha Issam Sahiba converted to Ahmadiyyat in 2015. She is from Zion Jamaat and has a degree in early childhood education. She is currently serving as National Lajna Waqf Jadid Secretary. She is a wife and a mother to a 1-year-old. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Sister Samantha.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. Jazakallah for having me, and I'm looking forward to the discussion today.
In studio today, we have Sister Saima Mumtaz Sahiba. Saima Sahiba is currently serving as the Lajna Sadr of York Harrisburg Jamaat and is pursuing a master's degree in marriage and counseling. She has been married for 22 years and has 4 children. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
My first question is for you, Sister Samantha. Before we can even start to talk about the rights of extended family members, the rights of spouses must be addressed. Obviously, problems will arise when the rights of individuals are not upheld in any relationship. However, we see a common issue where spouses get fixated on their own rights and fail to seriously reflect on whether they are fulfilling the rights of their spouse. Samantha Sahiba, can you elaborate on some of the rights that both husbands and wives owe to each other in this sacred relationship?
In Islam, when we marry, we perform the nikah, and that's a religious ceremony, and it's a pledge to abide by the commandments of Allah. So we are pledging and promising to care for our spouses in the way that God has directed us. In the Holy Quran, we find simple yet profound guidance. They are a garment for you, and you are a garment for them. Chapter 2, verse 188. A garment provides covering, protection, and embellishment. When I think of an excellent example of a garment, I think of Hadrat Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ experienced his first divine revelation, it was so intense that he was fearful that he wouldn't be able to discharge this enormous responsibility that God had assigned him. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ told his wife Hadrat Khadija of his experience, she reassured him. She said, "God is witness, he has not sent you to this world that you should fail and prove unworthy, that he should then give you up. How can God do such a thing when you are kind and considerate to your relations? You help the poor and the forlorn and bear their burdens." She wrapped him in both a physical and a metaphorical blanket. She both covered him and she embellished him, reminding him of his generosity and his service to humanity. In the book Domestic Issues and Their Solutions, we find excellent guidance regarding marriage and the rights of our spouses. In this book, we find that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that when we honor the rights of our spouses, this will be viewed as a form of worship. Often people are quick to point out how their spouse is not fulfilling their rights, but we should first concentrate on fulfilling the rights of our spouse. And by fulfilling these rights, it is as if we are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hadrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, also mentions in the book how when we see a flaw in our spouse, we must stop to think because there will always be many things to admire. We should focus on the embellishments of our spouse and find peace in them. The Holy Quran says, And one of his signs is this, that he has created wives for you from among yourselves, that you may find peace of mind in them, and that he has put love and tenderness between you. And that surely are signs for a people who reflect. Chapter 30, verse 22.
Jazakallah for that beautiful answer, Sister Samantha. Saima Saiba, now that we have a better understanding of the rights of spouses, let's move on to the rights of their relatives. We find that a lot of conflict in households are due specifically to problems in the relationship with the spouse's relatives, mainly their parents and siblings. So let's talk first about parents, Saima Saiba. Can you please shed some light on the most important things to be aware of when it comes to our conduct towards our parents, our spouse's parents specifically?
So this is a very important question because many marriage conflicts do stem from conflicts with the in-laws, but specifically parent-in-laws. But before we get further into the discussion, I would like to share what the Holy Quran has to say about parents. So it says in the Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 37, "And worship Allah and associate not with Him, and show kindness to parents and kindred." So this is the beauty of Islam, that it works from the ground up and it creates this firm foundation for us to build upon. So this verse provides two directives for the couple. One, that you should show kindness to your parents, both set of parents, and two, that you should show kindness to family relations on both sides. Hazur, may Allah strengthen his hand, in the book Domestic Issues, has pointed out a main reason for marriage problems, and that is disregard for each other's parents. And that is done by, belittling them or calling them names. And honestly, nobody really feels that much affection towards someone who's disrespecting their parents. So this is why, couples, it's important for couples to come from a place of kindness and respect in their relationship with their parent-in-laws. And Hazur has said that, if couples continuously practice this, then, their own relationship will be enhanced. Since we're talking about parent-in-laws, I think we should also bring in a cultural component as well. And, there are some cultural practices that, do not align with Islamic teachings. For instance, there's this misconception that the boy's parents somehow have a higher authority or say in the couple, in the couple's relationship rather than the girl's families. And this is completely an un-Islamic thought process. We should be intentional and mindful of what cultural practices we are bringing into our homes and assess if they measure up to Islamic teachings or not. If we do not filter out these misconceived, cultural practices, then this could be damaging for our families moving forward. And on a last note, let's face it, there are some really challenging, parent-in-law relationships. And this is when you have to really dig deep and pull from your spiritual strength. Sister Samantha earlier on mentioned a beautiful hadith that the Holy Prophet ﷺ, told us about obligations, filling obligations, couples with each other. And if we really make a genuine effort and intentionally turn towards Allah, and we do istighfar and prayer, and this will not happen overnight, but inshallah, you will see an easing in your challenging relationship.
Inshallah, definitely. That last point you made is just so important, that we need to turn to our own inner lives in times of hardship and turn to Allah. So Jazakallah for that. Now we take a short break to hear a quote from the book Domestic Issues and Their Solutions.
Paradise's pathway, that's our only goal. Paradise's pathway, rejuvenate the soul. Paradise's pathway, the path for you.
Today, we are at Beit Rahman Mosque in Maryland. This mosque serves as the national headquarters of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, and it was inaugurated on October 14, 1994, by the fourth Khalifa, may Allah have mercy on him. Since then, it has been blessed with multiple visits by the Khulafa, making it one of the most historic mosques in this country's history. Our beloved Khalifa, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed, may Allah be his helper, continues to guide us on matters relating to our family lives. In the book, Domestic Issues and Their Solutions, His Holiness says, lack of patience, love of the world, and distance from righteousness has created fissures in the sacred relationships of husbands and wives in the world today. The solution lies in practicing these Quranic commandments alone. I have to regretfully say that our girls, women, and men are being influenced by the current ways of the world.
Bring humanity. Come along with me, bring humanity.
Welcome back. What an important reminder of the sacred nature of the relationship between a husband and wife. We are speaking with Sisters Saima and Samantha today about family life in Islam. Sister Samantha, just like with the issue in the relationship with parents, problems can also form in the relationship with the spouse's siblings. What should couples be aware of in order to maintain good relations with siblings and their families?
This question ties in with the last question about a spouse's parents. The family of your spouse quite simply becomes your new family. In Domestic Issues and Their Solutions, we find a quote from the promised Messiah, alayhi salam, stating that family ties do not just signify one's own familial relations or one's own blood relations. Rather, the relations of both the husband and the wife become each other's close relations after marriage. That is, the husband's parents, brothers, and sisters become the wife's parents, brothers, and sisters, and the same for the wife. If this perspective is taken, relationships can never grow apart and can never suffer. So it is about honoring the relationship that you have with this person who is now your kindred. Your relationship with them will not grow apart or suffer because they are now your family. In the book, Hazur said, kind treatment is enjoined with all close relatives, not only with those with whom you get on, rather with everyone. The commandment of kindness is not just for your own close relatives. For the man, it entails his wife's relatives, and for the woman, it entails her husband's close relatives. This is the treatment which would propagate peace and security. So it is not important if your family has the same interests, hobbies, or nature as you. Even if you disagree on some things, they are to be treated as your family. We can also think about how would we like our spouse to treat our relatives, and are we treating their relatives in a way that is best?
Jazakallah, I think you bring up that golden rule is that we treat others as we would like to be treated, and the hadith that you like for your brother what you like for yourself. So, Jazakallah, tolerance and patience are important in order to work through issues together and in conduct towards relatives. Let's take a look at the responsibilities the extended family members have towards the new couple. Sister Saima, what should parents and relatives be mindful of in their conduct towards the married couple?
This is another excellent question, and I would like to bring in a component of justice into the discussion. Now, the word justice we normally hear associated with governments and societal issues like racial justice and social justice, but justice actually starts within our own homes. And if we are applying justice, we are essentially saying that I am putting you before me. So how does this justice look like in in-law and couple relationship? It takes the shape with the in-laws practicing validation, acceptance, and showing kindness to their children's spouses. Hazur, may Allah strengthen his hand, in the book Domestic Issues, has said that, when couples get married, more often than not, it is the girl who comes into a new environment. So Hazur has indicated that the bulk of the responsibility falls on the boy's parents to make the girl feel welcomed and comfortable. Now, Hazur also gave a very important advice to the parent-in-laws, and Hazur said that parent-in-law should overlook the shortcomings of their daughter-in-laws and their son-in-laws just like they would for their own children. Now, this advice can make a huge positive impact on the relationship. And in-laws should also realize that as new couples, the couple is beginning their journey to getting to know each other, building understanding and trust and forming this love and affection. So in-laws on both sides should be mindful that the couple is given space and time to do that. Yeah. And as in-laws, we also need to realize that, we have a significant role in the couple's narrative. And we have to be mindful of, how our words and actions impact the couple. And if we truly want our children's home to be an abode of peace and happiness, then we need to continually come from a space of kindness, forgiveness, and wisdom towards our children and their spouses.
Jazakallah, what an important point. I think the impact of the extended family on the couple cannot be understated, So you've made a good point there, Jazakallah. We will now take a short break to hear some advice from one of our Lajna members on the rights of family members. But please stay with us as we have more to discuss with our panelists.
It's normal to feel a lot of emotions when you become a newlywed. There's a lot of changes. One of these changes is that you now have in-laws. So what are their rights? Allah says in chapter 4, verse 37, "And worship Allah and associate not with Him, and show kindness to parents and to the kindred." It is very clear that one of the duties of a married couple is to be kind to each other's parents as they would their own. The couple is commanded to equally be kind and courteous to each other's relations and try to fulfill their rights. A husband and wife will feel more love and affection for each other when they see each other showing love and kindness to their mutual relatives. It is important to remember that when your spouse's family visits, respect them as your own with love and cheerfulness. As you overlook faults in your spouse, you should also overlook the faults of parents and not abuse or be rude to them. Every relationship in a person's life has ups and downs and requires effort, whether it's with a spouse, family member, or friend. It is important for both parties to work together towards building an everlasting and harmonious relationship. It is essential for a husband and wife to have mutual respect, trust, tolerance, and cooperation. Our beloved Huzur Ayatollah bin Aziz has said that everyone has weaknesses. If you see each other's shortcomings, then close your eyes and tongue, then you can live peacefully. To have heavenly homes and a marriage with peace and tranquility, compromise and communication is vital. It is important to be understanding of your spouse's feelings and perspective. Good communication requires both the husband and the wife to listen to each other's perspectives with kindness and understanding. The Holy Prophet ﷺ has said that if both parties were mindful of fulfilling the rights and obligations of each other for the sake of attaining the pleasure of Allah, their acts would be a form of worship and they will be rewarded. In the Holy Quran, Allah refers to men as Qawam, meaning guardian. They are responsible for the financial affairs for the family. An earning woman has the right to spend her money as she sees fit. The husband cannot force her to spend her money on the house or other expenses. As the Qawam, it is required for him to fulfill the rights of his family financially. Life is short, and one should try their best to adopt righteousness and honor their relationships. May Allah guide us. Ameen.
Welcome back to the studio. We have 2 more questions to explore with our panelists today. There is one serious issue that comes up again and again, and that has to do with living with your in-laws. Many cultures accept and promote living with one's parents. However, some newlywed couples have a desire to live on their own, but they may experience guilt or shame due to this. Sister Saima, what guidance does Islam provide on this topic?
Once again, we see how cultural practices can negatively impact our family systems. Nowhere in the Holy Quran or the Islamic teachings do we see a commandment that says that we need to have joint family systems. But instead, let's look at what the Holy Quran does say about it. And it states in chapter 24, verse 62, that there is no harm for the blind, and there is no harm for the lame, and there is no harm for the sick, and none for yourselves, that you eat from your own houses, or the houses of your fathers, or the houses of your mothers, or the houses of your brothers, or the houses of your sisters. Now, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih I, Raziyallahu anhu, stated that this verse clearly states that we should have separate homes. Unfortunately, what happens is that in some cultures, joint family system is turned into a test and trial for the couple. Hazur, may Allah strengthen his hand, elaborated in the book Domestic Issues that if the couple want to leave the joint family system, then they are made to feel like they're committing this huge sin, or that they will be held bound by the boy's parents. And Hazur has clearly stated that this is a most erroneous thinking on part of the boy's parents. Now, joint family systems has its benefits and it can be very positive. However, Hazur has said that this should not be an emotional choice, but instead should be based on mutual collaboration and understanding between all parties concerned. Now, of course, joint family systems, there are exceptions to that when, parents have to live with their children. That is when, they are too sick or weak to live by themselves. Lastly, there's this misconception that, family joint systems somehow or the other will make the family closer, there will be more cohesion within the family. But, in order to achieve all of this, we simply need to follow the Islamic teachings. And, we don't necessarily need to be physically close to each other. And who knows, perhaps the saying for some families, distance makes the heart grow fonder, can very well be true.
Definitely, I'm glad you clarified that point because oftentimes that is a misconception that needs clarification. So Jazakallah for that. Sister Samantha, the next question is for you. There are some relationships that start off on the wrong foot and become strained very quickly. What are the main causes of conflict, and is there some sure way to prevent them? Are there any specific solutions to mending acrimonious and broken relationships?
In Domestic Issues and Their Solution, Hazur, may Allah be his helper, lists many culprits for conflicts in marriage. He says lack of taqwa, not fulfilling each other's rights, bad morals, anger, and abusive language. He says lack of patience and love of the world and distance from righteousness have created fissures in our relationship. And Hazur tells us that the solution lies in practicing the Quranic commandments. So thinking back to our first topic of discussion, the rights of our spouse, are we fulfilling the pledge that we made in the nikah to care for our spouse as God has directed us? Righteousness is mentioned 5 times in the verse that is recited at our nikah, and it is the key to a happy relationship. Hazur says, the problems that arise in relationships would never happen if newly formed relationships always keep in view that they should abide by righteousness, pay each other's rights and dues, overlook trivial matters, and be caring towards each other's close families. We can resolve conflict by overlooking trivial matters. Sometimes if a person or a party says something wrong, the other also retorts back in kind. If one shuts one's ears for a short time in order to stop an ongoing argument, many problems can subside there and then. And apart from the problems of habitually quarrelsome men and women, generally conflicts do not come to pass. Therefore, shut your ears and you will come in peace. If gentle and affectionate speech is employed, problems can never arise. Similarly, it has been seen when cases and problems are brought up, be it men or women, it is the tongue that goes on prolonging conflicts. And finally, we are human, so we will all make mistakes. So we should forgive our spouse in the same way that we want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us.
Absolutely. Jazakallah for that. Gentle speech and overlooking faults. Those are really the two keys. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. I would like to thank our panelists, Sister Saima Mumtaz Saiba and Samantha Isam Saiba, for joining us to explore the topic of family rights within Islam. For a deeper look into this topic, please do refer to the book, Domestic Issues and Their Solutions. Join us for our next episode where we will discuss conflict management. Until then, we'll be waiting for you on Paradise's Pathway. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Paradise's pathway, that's our only goal. Paradise's pathway, rejuvenate the soul. Paradise's pathway, the path for you and me. Paradise's pathway, the path that makes us see. Paradise's pathway, the path to unity. Come along with me, bring humanity. Come along with me, bring humanity.